Good morning, guys. Welcome to the Primal Podcast, episode 6. Today, in this workout, I'm doing 100 snatches with rows interspersed in between. So this is kind of part of the program that I'm developing, and it's really around kind of trying to get more of a bodybuilding effect from kettlebells while still using the kettlebells as they're meant to be used, if that makes sense. And I'll elaborate on that. So the traditional bodybuilding split, for example, like push-pull, I think this is good. This is what I used to do, like in high school, like when we all used to lift weights or whatever. And I would, I tried all sorts of different things, but I think what was most efficient was push-pull. It kind of allows you to get the most volume in during the week and whatnot. Anyways, random tangent now that I mentioned that is a lot of people give me shit on TikTok because they're like, oh, you built your body in the gym and you're just maintaining it with kettlebells, blah, blah, blah. So now that I said that, people are probably going to be like, oh my God, he did do that. It's like, no, I didn't. When I was super young, yes, I did work out in the gym. Yes, I did get pretty big at one point, but this is such a tangent, but I have to address it because I mentioned it. When I was in college, I hurt my shoulder pretty bad. I actually hurt it in high school and just kind of kept doing the damage into college till I couldn't do anything anymore. And I tore my labrum, and I dealt with that for years. I dealt with that. So that was my freshman year of college when that first flared up. I was working out hard. That's probably when I was my strongest at that age. Sorry if I take breaks. I'm just drinking on some coffee. And I was around 18, 19 at the time. So that's when I really hurt my shoulder. It's kind of crazy to think back and talk about this, actually. It's been a while. But, yeah, so I hurt the shoulder pretty bad. And what was I going to say about that? Yeah, so it essentially ruined, all of the progress that I was making in the gym. So I did build a decent body for that age, and then I had to stop working out completely. But I didn't really address the shoulder properly. Like I had ADHD growing up, so I never could focus and do a simple exercise program that could heal my shoulder. Like today, if something like that happened, I would know what to do. I would approach it more systematically, more methodically. But this is actually 10 years ago now. Wow. So 10 years ago is when I first really hurt the shoulder. And so what happened was I was so addicted to working out and since I couldn't lift weights or really do anything, I just started hopping on the exercise bike. So I'd hop on the exercise bike for, a long time, 45, 50 minutes at a time, going freaking hard, man. Very hard. I remember I would just throw on some music and just go as hard as I could for 45 minutes. And, then I lost all my muscle. I burned all my muscle off my body, literally. Got really skinny, really lean. I would see people from high school and they would be like, dude, what happened? And I'd be like, fuck you. Seriously though, that would bother me a lot, and I wouldn't want to see people, and I'd be like, what am I going to do? Because that was my identity, it was being that guy with muscles. So that was stripped away from me, and I was okay with that. After a while, I was just back to being small like I was before. Small and now injured. And so took time off the weights, and the shoulder got decently better, but not good enough to lift again. And I'll elaborate on this whole shoulder thing too, because this is what got me into this whole lifestyle and who I am today. So that's so funny, but this is a podcast, right? There's no agenda here. So I'm just talking off tops. I was going to kind of walk you guys through my workout, but that's boring. This is more interesting. So yeah, so eventually it got to the point where I went to the doctor, and you go to the doctor and you seek, at least me, I want some sort of dialogue, like hey, this guy's trying to get to know me and my situation, trying to get to the bottom of what's going on. He's going to heal me, he's going to help me, that's what we think. But with what I've found with going to the doctor for all the various things that I've needed to go to the doctor for when I was growing up, is that they really typically just prescribe you drugs or suggest surgery. So we'll go down that rabbit hole and how I feel about that some other time. Anyways, so I got, long story short, guys, I had to get surgery. And I didn't even have to get surgery. That's not the right word. That's how convoluted our health system and society is that a perfectly fine 20-year-old male, young, in his not even in his prime, still growing, is getting surgery on his shoulder for something that did not need surgery. So I got the surgery. Fast forward a year or so later, still not feeling good. The same, literally the same symptoms that I was feeling before were still there. And those symptoms it wasn't really like a shoulder pain, guys. It was more of a neck pain. It was more of my shoulder and my bicep were atrophying, and I felt like it was coming from there. There was a kind of a pinching in the back, but there was more of this strain down my neck. And after the strain down my neck is really what was problematic. So that pinching that I was feeling in my shoulder, I guarantee you that if I had done things like dead hanging, mobility work that I know about today, fixing my breathing mechanics, this would have all helped to open and release what was then kind of a shoulder impingement. But none of that was attempted. None of that. Barely physical therapy, poor effort on my end. Again, ADHD, dumbass kid. If you're a dumbass kid with ADHD and you're not feeling immediate pain, you're not going to do anything about it, right? You're just going to do something about it when it gets really bad. And then as soon as it gets a little bit better, you just stop, because that was my mentality, right? So this was troubling because I got surgery and everything was still kind of feeling the same. So long story short, I kind of got into yoga. I forgot how I got into yoga, but I got into yoga. And through yoga, I started getting into watching UFC because of Conor McGregor, and I got into Ido Portal. He's all about movement, human movement. So I got into that type of stuff. What really opened my mind and my body and started to heal me was when I was learning yoga and practicing yoga, was starting to learn how to breathe properly. This was what changed everything for me. One day I was sitting in class and I had been practicing a lot of yoga and breathing, and this was at a time where I was thinking of yoga as just a physical thing, and it was just a means to open my spine up and heal my shoulder, which it was doing. All the stuff about the breathing and whatnot, I used to particularly ignore and roll my eyes at. That was my mentality with the whole thing. So if I'm cut off here, guys, I'm sorry. I'm just going to get cut off when the video ends, and then we'll pick it up next week. But long story short, after all the practicing I'd been doing, I was sitting in class, statistics class, in the afternoon. I'll never forget this. I was pretty stoned at the time. We'd just taken a break in class. I walked out, smoked a joint with my friend, came back, and I was very high, sitting in class. And I remember breathing deeply, and all of a sudden I felt something unlock, like something in my belly opened up, and I finally took a full deep breath, and my belly relaxed. And I felt all this blood just start rushing to my lower back. And it my lower back was starting to just release. And I started feeling all this blood and heat just coursing there. It was pumping, dum, dum. And I just kept breathing deeply into it and opening it up. And I was like, oh my God. And that was the day my life changed. That's when I realized that all the pain that I was feeling up in my neck, even, all the discomfort, the misalignment in not just my physical body, but just the uneasiness of living in daily life that I kind of had, honestly. It just all went away in that moment. Not forever, It quickly came back. But then I realized, like, this is a practice. I need to keep practicing, like, breathing this way. And then I started really going, deep into this stuff. And long story short, kept practicing yoga, got really good at yoga and really good at breathing and breathing exercises. And now I can fully breathe and open my diaphragm. And I have so much more control over the tightness or stiffness that I do feel in my body if I do feel it. And any pain or injuries or anything like that that comes up, I just have such a deeper awareness with my body. And this, again, is a practice, a lifelong practice. Practicing stretching, breathing, moving, and doing this all together. And actually, scaling it. So doing that while you're doing calisthenics, doing that while you're doing kettlebells, pushing yourself to that next level, even spiritually in that sense. Because when you start to mindfully control your breath and master your breath and open up your body and spend time with it, when injuries or illness comes up, you have such a deep relationship with your body that you are essentially your best doctor. And there's things that words cannot even describe. The sensations and the control that you begin to have over certain elements of what's going on in your physical and mental reality, literally. It's really trippy. And all of this, stems from the breath. I strongly believe it. And me just talking about this is reinforcing and reminding me of, how important breath work is and how much more I should even be practicing it, because I strongly think that that's what takes you to the next level, like, of consciousness, honestly. So, and I don't mean to sound like some guru or someone who's trying to say something to you guys. I'm talking to myself through all of this. I'm reminding myself the importance of all of this, and through my memories and my experiences and what it's done for me. So that's it, guys. Peace out.